Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Laurel Park here on Saturday. It is April the 20th, 2019. I'm going to look at all the stakes races on the program from Laurel, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me in 2 weeks' time for my Kentucky Derby preview video. Just less than 2 weeks, and the Derby looks like it's going to be a good race this year, so join me here on YouTube for that. But today's card from Laurel is kind of the local prep races for the Preakness Day at Pimlico, which comes up in about 4 weeks' time. So you'll see a lot of these horses return Preakness weekend at Pimlico. Looking at the stakes schedule, they have a great stakes program there. But let's get to the racing action from Laurel. Did rain down in Maryland near Laurel at Laurel on Friday, to the point of I believe they canceled the 7th and 8th race day, or they took it off the turf to save the turf course for today. So hopefully they'll run on the turf. But I did handicap this for a little bit of moisture in the course, so just keep that in mind. So we're going to look at the stakes races 5 through 11. So 5 through 11, the final few races on the program. Let's get to it. The 5th race, it's the Frank Whiteley Jr. Stakes. It's going for a purse of $100,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses heading to post, a distance of ground of 1,200 meters, or the distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the main track. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs. And I show the diagram. It just gives me a second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. Top selection here. I'm going to go to the number 5 horse. The 5 horse, who is Lewis Field. I'm going to go 5-2-6 in the trifecta. 5-2-6 trifecta. Top selection 5 horse Lewis Field. This 5-year-old gelding by Great Notion. Jeff Runco trains. Avion Toledo gets the leg up. And the horse's most recent outing came the 16th of March at Laurel, 6 furlongs in the Not for Love Stakes. he won by 3 1/4 lengths. He sat on the front on all throughout, and he just went away with it. It was a very good victory off the break. Before that, Laurel 6 furlongs at a 75,000 State Bred Overnight Stakes. He finished third by 1.5 lengths there, and he set the pace early on, and then he just kind of hit the wall. I couldn't keep up there. It wasn't the day to win. And then a Pennat 6 furlongs in the Fabulous Strike Handicap Stakes. He finished third by 5 lengths, and he never had nothing. He had a trouble trip, and he didn't really show up. But he's run his better races here at Laurel. He's 10 for 6 on this course. Like I said, he won his most recent race, and he won here, over the summer a few times, and he won the Maryland Sprint in the fall by 8 3/4 very easily. He likes this course. He's speedy enough to win. Everything points to him at 5-2. I'll take him. If you're going to play the multi-race, there's a pick 3 that begins with this race, and I think there's a pick 4 that begins with the earlier race 4. If you're going to play it, I would single this horse here. But to recap my selection for the 5th from Laurel, it's the Frank Whiteley Jr. Stakes. I'm going to go with the 5 horse Lewis Field. I'm going to go 5-2-6 in the Tri-Cast Trifecta. So now let's get to race number 6 from Laurel, which is the King Leatherberry Stakes. It's going for a purse of $100,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 15 horses, but just keep in mind the 8 horse is a main track only, so 14 will go on the turf course, distance of ground of 1,100 meters, with a distance of ground of 5.5 furlongs on the Laurel turf course. 1,100, 5.5. I believe the rail for this race is out 52 feet, so that's the main portion of the turf course. I believe the pre-2004 renovation turf course. But my top selection, I'm going to go to the, to the number 9 horse, who is Dirty. I'm going to go 9-11-15 in the trifecta. 9-11-15 trifecta. Top selection 9 horse Dirty. This 4-year-old colt by McLean's Music. Jeremiah Engelhart trains. Jorge Vargas Jr. picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 30th of November here in New York at Aqueduct. 6 furlongs in allowance race for 76,000. Second time facing older horses in quite a while. He finished second by 4.5 lengths. He was very wide that day, but he had a decent turn of foot that day. Excuse me, it wasn't wide, but he's on the rail. We're looking at the wrong race, but in the wrong notes. That day he was a little bit wide, but he was closing up well at the end. He ran a good race on quite wet ground. Before that at Aqueduct on firm ground, 6 furlongs allowance, 78,000. First time facing older horses since June. He finished 7th by 3.5 lengths. He was with the pace setters. Again, that race he was wide, and he just never got into it. It wasn't his day to win. And then at Belmont, 6 furlongs on good ground, softer side of good in the Allied forces. He finished second by 5 3/4 lengths behind World of Trouble. He was wide that day, and he just never excelled. But he's 1 for 1 here at Laurel. He won an allowance race against older horses back in June of 2018 by 5 lengths. He stalked early on. He got lead, then he took off. That was a very good race against Maryland breds. So he won against state breds. But he should like the given the ground. He'll have a good poster, and he looks like he'd be versatile. He can set the pace, or he could rate a little bit. So at 6 to 1, I'll take him. So to recap my selection for the 6 from Laurel's the King Leatherberry Stakes, I'm going to go with the 9 horses Dirty. I'm going to go 9, 11, 15 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. So now let's get to race number 7. Race number 7 from Laurel, it's the Primanetta Stakes. It's going for a purse of $100,000. Races for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of, 10 horses going to post a distance of ground of 1,200 meters. If you want to go back, with a distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the main track, 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs. My top selection here, I'm going to go to the number 2 horse, who is Miss Locust Point. I'm going to go 253 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. 253 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection 2 horse, Miss Locust Point. 5-year-old mare by Dialed In. John Service trains. Jorge Vargas Jr. picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 26th of March at Philadelphia Parks. 6.5 furlongs allowance race, 52,000. The horse won by 7 3/4. Second off the break, on lead all throughout against lesser quality horses. Doesn't get any easier than that. It was a very good run. Before that, here at Laurel, 7 furlongs in the Grade 3, Barbara Fritchie. She finished 4th by 3 1/4 lengths there. She was with the pace setters early on, setting the pace, and then she just kind of weakened out of it. The closers got to her, and then allowance race in Years of Park, 6 furlongs, allowance race, 50,000. She won by 3 lengths, and she was very wide that day, but she still got the job done. Wasn't the most impressive victories, but she, like I said, she got the job done. She started 6 times here at Laurel to 4 victories. One of the only victories for this, one of the only losses for this horse, came in the Barbara Fitchie last time out, of course, or 2 starts ago, and going back to an overnight stakes back here in November, she lost. Other than that, she's been pretty perfect here. She won the Barbara Fitchie in 2017, very nice, or 2018, by 4.5 lengths. She's a speedy horse. She'll like a wet going if we're going to see it today, and I think she'll get away with it. So at 2 to 1, I'll take her. So to recount my selection for the 7th from Lawrence Primanetta, gonna go with the 2 horse Miss Locust Point. I'm going to go 253 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. The 8th race from Laurel, it's the Dahlia Stakes. It's going for a purse of $100,000. Race for 3-year-old, it's for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Can't speak, pardon me. It is 4:30 in the morning, and I haven't had coffee yet. But it's for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 15 horses heading to post, but keep in mind, the 2 horses main track only. The 5 horses in main track only, and the 13 horses in main track only. So we'll have quite a few horses on the sideline. So we'll have a field of 13, if my math's correct, or 12 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or 1 mile on the Laurel lawn of the turf course. 1,600, 1 mile on the lawn. The rail is out at 52 feet, so that's the outer portion of the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to go to the number 9 horse, who is Secret Message. I'm going to go 961 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. 961 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection, 9 horse Secret Message. This 4-year-old filly by Hat-Trick. Grand Motion trains. Trevor McCarthy gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came the 13th of October at Keeneland, a mile and 1/8 on firm ground in the QE2 Cup. She finished 6th by 10 quarter lengths there. She beat 1 horse home. She was very fractious that day, and she just couldn't keep up with our grade 1 horses. I think coming here, step down class to the home base, I think the horse should run a lot better. Before that, at Belmont, a yielding ground, a mile and 1/8 in the grade 2 Sands Point. She finished 2nd by half length. She had a little bit of a turn of foot that day, even though that turf course doesn't play towards closers. She closed up well. She ran a good effort from a wide post draw, and then before that, at Arlington, a mile and 1/8 in the grade 3 Pucker Up. She won by 1 1/4. She sat back early, very wide, not the best beginnings, but she got the job done. She won very nicely at the end at 6 to 1, and then she ran the Regretta Churchill on Stephen Foster night. Very hot night. Going a mile and 1/8 on the turf course. She finished 4th by 2 3/4 lengths. She didn't break all that well, and she was never comfortable. Just watch the replay. She got 4th out of default. It wasn't her best run. I think she'll like the give in the ground, and even the wide post, it shouldn't affect her a lot if she breaks well. She could be deadly, so at 6 to 1, I'll take her. So to recap my selection for the 8th from Laurel, it's the Dahlia Stakes. And before I recap them, wasn't there like 10 Dahlia Stakes here in America years ago? Wasn't there one from Hialeah? Wasn't there one from Hollywood Park? Wasn't there one from like some other track and also Laurel? Wasn't there like four of them? But that's for another day. But to recap my selection for the Laurel Dahlia Stakes, I'm going to go with the 9-horse Secret Message. I'm going to go 9-6-1 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. Let's get to race number 9. Race number 9 from Laurel, it is the Weber City Mistakes. It's going for a purse of $125,000. Races for 3-year-old fillies here. Field of 7 horses heading to post, a distance of ground of 1,700 meters, if you want to go with that, with a distance of ground of about a mile and 1/16 on the Laurel main track. About 1,700, about a mile 16th. And I like these. For some reason, I always like races that start right after the finish line. Don't get any. I don't know why, but I always do. Like Hollywood Park, you start mile 16 races after the finish line. Hialeah, talked about that from a few minutes ago. They used to do it, but I know I'm weird. But my top selections here, I'm gonna go to the number 6 horse Las Cetras. I'm gonna go 6-1-4 in the trifecta. 6-1-4 trifecta. Top selection 6 horse Las Cetras. This real filly by Seville. Catherine Voss trains. Javier Toledo gets the leg up. The horse is most recent out. It came 16th of March at Laurel. 1 mile in the Beyond the Wire Stakes. The horse won by 5. On the lead all throughout. Took off clear. It was a very good victory as the favorite. Before that, again, a Laurel 7 furlongs in the Wide Country Stakes. She won by 5.5. Again, she didn't break all that well. It was very wide. She wanted to go, and when she got to the lead, she took off. A very good victory at the end. And then at Laurel 7 furlongs on the 20th of January, and the main special weight is 57,000. She won by 1 3/4. That day she was on the inside. She took off clear. A very good victory. The only subpar race was her first outing ever on New Year's Eve at Laurel, going 6 furlongs and main special weight 48,000. She didn't break all that well. She was wide, and she just had a lot of 2-year-old antics, first time out antics. Wasn't comfortable a lot, but I think coming here, going mile 16th, speed favoring course, going mile 16th at Laurel on the dirt, going to the front end. If she could get away with it, I think she could win. So at 7-5, I'll take her. So to recap my selection for the 9th from Laurel, so Weber City Mistakes. Gonna go with the 6 horse Las Citas. I'm gonna go 6-1-4 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. Let's get to the feature 10th race from Laurel, which is the Federico Tesio Stakes. It's going for a purse of $125,000. Race for 3-year-olds here. The local prep race for the Preakness Stakes coming up in 4 weeks' time. Fields of 6 horses going the distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 1/8 on the Laurel main track. 1,800, 1 1/8 around the circumference of the Laurel track. Top selection, I'm going to go to the number 2 horse, Always Mining. I'm going to go 2-1-5 in the trifecta. 2-1-5 trifecta. Top selection 2 horse Always Mining. This 3-year-old gelding by Stay Thirsty. Kelly Rubley trains. Daniel Centeno gets the leg up. Like I said, single in the multi-race, but his most recent outing came 16th of March at Laurel. About a mile 16th in the private term stakes. The horse won by 6 3/4. On lead all throughout. It was a very good, easy race for this horse. He didn't have a lot of competition, but he still won very nicely. But talk about the competition today. I think the private terms was a lot tougher than this group today. So I think today he should really walk. Before then, the Miracle Wood at Laurel 1 mile is February the 16th. He won by 4 1/4, and that day, again, on lead all throughout. He just took off clear first off the break. It was a very good run. And then the Heft Stakes at Laurel 7 furlongs, December 29th. He won by 1.5. He was drifting a little bit that day, but he still got the job done. He actually won his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races in a row, and the smallest margin was 1.5. The biggest margin was 10. The average margin was about 5 lengths. So he's a really good horse. His last loss came to Laurel Futurity, going 6 furlongs on a very wet turf course back on the 22nd of September, where he finished 7 by 8 1/4 lengths. He was wide, he just had nothing. But since coming to Maryland, he's found something else, and I think he's a good horse, and I think he'll really run well here today. So I'll take him. So to recap my selection for the 10th from Laurel, it's Federico Tesio. Gonna go with the 2 horse Always Mining. Gonna go 2-1-5 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. The feature, the 11th race, the final race on the program from Laurel, it is the Henry S. Clark Stakes, going for a purse of $100,000. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 10 horses. The 6 and 7 are main track only, so we'll have a field of 8 going to post on the turf. Hopefully, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters or a mile on the Laurel turf course. 1,600, 1 mile. My top selection here, the rails at 0 feet, so that's dinner horse and turf course. Top selection, I'm going to take the 2 horse Mo Maverick, or excuse me, not the 2 horse Mo Maverick, excuse me, I'm going to go with the number 10 horse Just Howard, the 10 horse Just Howard. I'm going to go 10-8-3 in the tri-cast trifecta. 10-8-3 tri-cast trifecta, top selection 10 horse Just Howard, 5-year-old horse by English Channel, Grand Motion Drains, Trevor McCarthy picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 14th of October here in New York at Belmont, soft turf course, mile and a half on the Widener in the point of entry. The horse finished 4th by 13 lengths. She set the pace early on. She got tired in the lane and she just couldn't keep up, couldn't stay the mile and a half. That wasn't her day to win. Before then, the Fine Stakes at Laurel, 1 mile off turf, September 29th. She finished 8th by 15 lengths, and I don't think she liked the dirt. She got the kickback, and she just didn't do well there. And then off to 25 at Laurel, about yielding ground, mile 16th August 9th. The horse went by 1/4 lengths. She was drifting a little bit but when she got to lead from a mid-pack position, but she still got the job done against lesser quality horses. And then the Arlington handicap at Arlington, mile 3/16, August 7th, or excuse me, July the 7th. She finished 5th by 2 lengths. She stalked early on. She really wanted to go, but Fergal Lynch, who rode the horse, didn't want to let her go and cost her at the end because she had not a lot in the tank. And then the Dixie on the dirt at Pimlico. She finished 3rd by 1/4 lengths. Like I said, she's not a dirt horse, or he's not a dirt horse. He's a turf horse. Back to the lawn today. It likes this lawn, 5-4 over it. It's gonna have to overcome a wide post, but I think he can, so I'll take him at 9-2. So to recap my selection for the 11th from Laurel, it's the Henry S. Clark Stakes. Gonna take the 10 horse Just Howard. Gonna go 10-8-3 in the tri-cast trifecta. So collect 12, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5.